You want to go over to that camera? Perfect. Welcome, everybody, back to the WorkAway podcast. My name is John Hindo, your host. Today, we have a very interesting and special guest. He is an RN and the clinical director of FlowState Therapy, which is revolutionizing the way therapy is done here in the city of Ottawa. Me and him actually met at a networking event and bonded over the fact that we're both half Iraqis, half Canadians, but Christians as well. It's a very small community. So without further ado, Mr. Binyamin Shimshoon, welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Well, I know we've talked about this quite a bit over LinkedIn, and I'm very happy that we could finally make it happen. So for anyone meeting you for the first time, can you give us a quick intro, who you are and what FlowState Therapy is all about?
Definitely. That was a great introduction. Thank you. So my name is Binyamin Shimshoon. I am a registered nurse, the founder of FlowState. And FlowState is a innovative, ethically grounded mental health hub in the middle of Ottawa. So we're downtown. We specialize in ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, and we use that as a tool, as a part of a continuum in mental health care that's grounded in research. And hopefully, out of the work that we're doing, we see long-term gains for our clients. Basically that's it.
Yeah, and what made you realize, I can't continue to do this the old way and come up with the concept of flow state and everything that you're doing?
It's a great question. I had worked for the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board prior to starting FlowState Therapy. And what I had seen there was that oftentimes therapy just isn't enough. Mm-hmm. Therapy is great. It's a powerful tool. And sometimes it is enough. But for a lot of people that are trying therapy, they're trying medications, they've got, there's a ton of different interventions they're doing, they still feel stuck. Mm-hmm. Ketamine therapy and what you might hear of like psychedelic therapies is just a powerful way to help people get unstuck and help them along their healing journey.
Yeah, it's not always about peeking to the third dimension. Sometimes it's about, helping, reset some of the things, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like you're getting ketamine from dealer off the corner, like it's medicinal, right? Yeah. If you had to sum up, some of the problems with traditional mental health systems, what would you say that is?
Problems with traditional mental health systems. I'd say lack of access is a big one that I had seen when I was at the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board. So it's just overburdened. A lot of times there's little communication between stakeholders and the community of mental health providers. And that's a big part of what I want to do is just bring that community closer together, open the doors of conversation, and just have a better community where we can help each other out, where we can talk openly.
Yeah, 100%. And I can honestly speak to that as well. I had a buddy of mine, we're 28 years old, but he lived in Banff for a number of years and, was a bartender, bar manager. So obviously was drinking a lot and realized when he moved back home, he's like, I'm an alcoholic. And, you're 28 years old, right? It's not an easy thing. And trying to get access at the Royal Ottawa, which I understand that mental health is one of the largest, there's such a high demand for it that it's hard to get in, right?
Yeah.
And it took him almost 2 months to get in to see somebody.
Holy crap.
Which, from what I understand, is actually a pretty quick timeline.
Yeah.
Which, so I definitely love hearing that you're trying to, help the community, bring them together and, make it more accessible, right? That's the big thing. Was there like a personal experience that helped you shape flow state therapy with your vision?
Man, I would say it's like all of my experiences that I've had so far led up to this opportunity. All my experiences I had with business before, all the experiences I had as a nurse working in the hospital, in the emergency, working for insurance companies when it came to like disability interventions, my passion for helping, my passion for seeing results quickly, all of those things. And it feels like it was just the perfect opportunity to take like all my passions, everything that I loved about business and nursing and put it into one place. I got really, really lucky.
Yeah.
Really lucky.
That's awesome. That's such a good answer.
It's like the honest, it's the honest answer, man.
Oh, yeah. And that's perfect. What does ethical, like client focused healthcare look like when no one's watching?
Ethical client focus. I mean, it's really at the basis of what we do. So whenever we started FlowState, we developed what our values would be, what would drive the business, and there's like 5 of those things. There's transparency, accessibility, client-centered care, community, and ongoing learning. And so when you talk about ethical and client-centered care, whenever we're making decisions as to where we should go, what steps we should take next, we try and think, is this in the best interest of the client? And that's how we continue to form these decisions that are good for our community and good for us as a group and as a business.
And was there like any hard decisions that you maybe had to make early on to kind of protect your mission over, the business aspect, being able to continue to give that care instead of, it's all about numbers and we need to make money, I guess is kind of the question.
Yeah, we're still early days. So, we're going to hit our 1 year. March 4th is going to be the day. March 4th, 2025 was our first client that walked in.
Nice.
That day, the doors weren't working downstairs. So I was going to open the door for everyone that had to come into the building. I was the receptionist and the nurse and the owner and the accountant. I still am many of those things. But I think what I wanted to do was make it accessible, which means that pricing had to be aligned with, the general kind of, how can I say, it had to be aligned with what made sense for the business, but also for clients. And we also work really, really hard with insurance companies in order to cover as much of the cost of this as possible. So it's still considered a therapy or a prescription that's off-label, which means that insurance companies are still kind of getting used to the idea of this being part of mental health care. And so that's one of the things that we do to increase accessibility is that we're advocates for the client when it comes to coverage, when it comes for insurers. And so we had to say that we were going to make an effort to make this as accessible as possible for clients.
Yeah. And one thing that I really got to give you kudos on is your website. I like to do my homework before I have a guest on the pod. And you guys have it pretty well laid out with, like what insurance can cover, what it'll help with, which I think is super comprehensive for people, because if you're struggling, you want to get into it, but it's just not easily accessible. You're literally giving them the roadmap of, how to, have help with it, right? Because it's not cheap.
Yeah.
But it is a necessity, right? So it's it's like these diabetes sensors that I wear. They're, $115. They only last 14 days.
Oh, geez.
But, thanks to insurance, it is like $40 to $50 instead. So it makes it a lot
affordable.
Yeah.
A little
and it's
more
like, it probably costs them $2 to make the sensor, but they can just charge it because they have to. Which my point is that I like that you can charge that price if you want to, that premium high price, but accessibility is the core of your mission, which I think is going to be foundational in your success. 100%.
Thank you. Yeah. And to the pricing, what I had seen with many other businesses in the same industry was that because it was a high ticket item, the feeling was, well, let's just hide all the pricing, wait until we get a person on the phone, and then try and sell them on the value and try and like trick a person into getting, on the phone with one of the workers. So what I wanted to do is make sure that clients had all the information up front. We want to be transparent, which means our pricing is transparent, which means what we do is transparent, who we are, what we're offering, that it's not a magic potion, that this is a tool, and that we're here to support and help. So
that's awesome. I'm loving everything I'm hearing.
Thanks.
Mental health beyond healthcare. Why do you think the healthcare system has to almost wait for like a breaking point in someone before like the real support comes in? Because I find oftentimes it's not just, like people need help, but it almost seems like it gets to a breaking point before it becomes like necessary or it becomes an emergency, and then we help them. So, why do you think that is?
There's so many factors. There's so many factors that how do I say it? There's, darn, lost my words. The question was, why do they
Why
do
people have to reach a breaking point?
Breaking point. Yeah, there's so many factors that lead to that point. There's societal factors like how we feel about mental health, how people feel about reaching out for help. So that's a big one. Another one is, like we said, accessibility, cost. Like you said, the Royal takes 2 months. You know, sometimes it takes 6 months to a year to see a psychiatrist just so you can get medications, or you're on medications and you need somebody to help you with dosing or titrating. That takes forever. And so I don't think it's one problem. I think it's just the system and how we lead people to believe that you have to be strong and you shouldn't reach out and you have to hold everything in, and that, you know, there's that's all good. And there's so many there's so many factors that lead to someone waiting so long before reaching out.
Yeah. I guess it's just the way that things have been kind of designed, and you know, it's the societal thing for sure. And I know for me personally, like Movember every year, I do a mustache, and I always do a campaign though, because I it's the whole point of it, right? It's literally the whole point of it, and anyways, that's another conversation. But I always do mine in support of mental health, because although I may seem fine all the time, and right now I personally am in a very good place, you know, career-wise, job-wise, OBC, car racing, everything is just going very well. But like, I can give you an example. Last summer, I left my job at Rogers from B2B sales and, you know, was working part-time at a brewery that we're involved in. And my mental health was not there. I was, you know, dragging myself out of bed and, you know, really, really got to a point where, you know, I didn't want to reach out and tell my parents because I didn't want them to feel like failures. So I was almost selfishly trying to protect them, but then also with myself, I just didn't want to admit that, you know, like, you're depressed and it comes in ebbs and flows, right? That's just how life goes. Yeah. It's always, I work with a life coach and she says that, you know, there's always ups and downs, but the more you can stabilize them instead of having a high peak and a high low, if you can stabilize them so that they're closer to that baseline that you have, that is what's important. And that's something that I kind of continuously try to work on is, you know, if I can't handle the low, I can't chase the high. That's something that I really, really believe in. Is, you know, if you can't handle being at the bottom, well, then you shouldn't be chasing for the top because everyone's got to start somewhere, right? Yeah. What do you think the first warning signs people miss before stress turns into burnout or like a full-blown mental health crisis?
It's a great question. I wanted to ask you about how you were feeling. Sure. If you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
You had mentioned like that time where you were working part-time at the brewery and you were working at the B2B at Rogers. Yeah. What was it? Was it working too hard, working too much? Was it
Rogers,
vision?
I was burnt out because it's B2B sales, high pressure sales environment. If I'm not producing, I'm not making money. B, like, I'd have to work late nights because, like, if I'm not, the salary wasn't enough to really cover life expenses. So I had to make my commission. In order to do that, sometimes you got to work late hours. You don't take your lunch. You don't take care of yourself. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't getting up early. I was hitting snooze 6 or 7 times. And so I think being burnt out from that, leaving the job, and then only working part-time at a brewery, like, it was fun, don't get me wrong, but all my friends were working their 9-to-5s, and honestly, I think I just was being hard on myself and felt like a loser because I wasn't working like everybody else. Yeah. I was still working, but not as much, and I think that, you know, what really pulled me out of it was getting my job here at WorkAway, honestly, because, like, I think I found my calling, to be honest with you, because, you know, half the job here is talking with members, just asking people about their day, having great guests like you on the podcast. Like, you know, I'm having a lot of fun behind the camera as well, filming, editing. And, you know, I think it was just, I wasn't doing enough. So I didn't feel like I was earning my time off. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that that's kind of where it did. And then, you know, getting back to working and pulling myself, like, I go through cycles all the time where I'll be like super happy and then I'll be depressed. And, you know, I do want to give myself a pat on the back though, because I do always find a way out, whether it's through racing, whether it's through, we call it throttle therapy.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Whether it's through throttle therapy or, just going to the barn with the guys and, taking a transmission apart and working on it, like
Nice.
building myself back up from that. I think, I've John the Phoenix because I always rise from the ashes. And I think that I think that it's super important to, be able to tell people about these stories and stuff and admit it, because that's the biggest step that I find people don't take, is admitting it to themselves. And I didn't want to admit it to myself. And then eventually I had the conversation with my dad, and we really, he would just call me, check on me. How are you doing? How are you feeling today? And then when I'd tell him I'd be doing good, he'd kind of be like, why did you feel good? What felt good about that? And then he'd push me to continuously go and do that stuff, whether it was driving on my simulator or even just like, going for a late night drive, throwing on the music. I don't know. Driving for me is very, very therapeutic. Like, I'm up at between 5 and 6 in the morning. I go to the gym. Like what?
I said, ouch, 5 to 6. It's early, man.
I find I'm not motivated if I don't go in the morning. Like after work, I just like, oh, I have to go do that now. So I honestly, it sets the tone for the day. I like to get up early. And the biggest thing for me, I detest waiting for machines. And when you go after work, that's the biggest thing. You have one guy on one machine who's been there for 20 minutes, and hey man, how many sets do you have left? It's him and a bunch of buddies just on their phones. Oh, I got one more set. Go do something else, come back, he's still on that last set. So I think for me personally, it's fine. And going back to the gym, taking care of myself,
huge,
eating properly, not eating out all the time. So I think that it's different for everybody. Like, not everyone's gonna find throttle therapy is gonna help them, but you got to find those things and those hobbies. I started DJing again because I DJ as well. So like,
what don't you do, John? What don't you do?
I need a Dos Equis here.
I was gonna say, your dad sounds like a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
I like how he was approaching like your, that time when you were struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of hit when you said that you didn't want to tell your parents because you didn't want them to feel like they were failing.
Yeah.
I've had that. I've had that before, where my parents are so important to me. They put so much love, so much work, and so much effort into raising us. I feel so, maybe blessed isn't the right word, but grateful. And I work every day to give back to my family and to give back to my parents. And where you're talking about the way you feel like your parents, I'm like, man, it sounds like you have pretty good parents too.
Yeah, 100%. Well, you've met my dad. He's, I honestly say I'm probably very biased, but I think I have the best father in the world. No, honestly, like I tell everybody, when I have a family, if I could be half the man that my dad was growing, like when he raised me, I'll be happy with myself, because he was just like, it's like what my grandmother growing up, she had the utmost faith in her children, like their shit smelled like roses to her, she just loved them so much and always set them up for success. And, just always always told them, you're the best, go be the best, so I think, I definitely am very, very happy to have been blessed with my parents. Blessed is the right word.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah, so I've talked kind of about what my warning signs are. I stopped showering. It's hard for me to get out of bed. The things that used to make me happy don't make me as happy anymore. So what do you think are some of the more common signs for people, when a burnout or like a full-on health crisis is happening?
Those are great signs. And probably some of the first ones is just you stop taking care of yourself. You stop enjoying the things that you would normally enjoy. So we look at this as like activities of daily living, which means that the activities that you do every day, they become much harder. You start shying away from things that before might have brought you pleasure. Things aren't bringing you pleasure at all. You're having trouble getting out of bed. You're having trouble at work, maybe focusing. So all those things play a role. Yeah. And actually to that fact, since you shared like some personal stuff, whenever I was working behind a desk and I was working on phones, this was at WSIB, and I was working as a nurse consultant there, and I had a ton of clients who were off work after mental health injuries, whether first responders or people just in government or, regular folk at a job. And I really felt like I wasn't making a difference. It was just a constant loop of here's more therapy, here's an assessment, and never really seeing any momentum or any change. And I'd wake up and go back to the computer and call these folks, and they've been doing 1 hour therapy a week, and nothing was getting better. And I was like, man, I can't do this. I got to be with people. I got to see faces. I have to make,
You have to make a change.
Yeah. So, and that was me. Sometimes it hit snooze 10 times. I didn't want to go to my desk.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was hard. And I was losing like my sense of purpose.
100%. I completely identify with that. And I'm not knocking that lifestyle at all. There's some, like my buddy Alex, who's been a guest on the pod, he works for TELUS. He, like, waking up in the morning for him is sales. Like, he just is sales through and through and just loves what he does. And that's totally fine. I do sales and leasing here for WorkAway, but it's mostly for the studio or for our offices. But for me personally, working in a big organization like that, it was just a little bit more difficult when you're a number. Whereas, like, here, like, I can just pop up to my CEO's office and chat with him and run ideas. And I'm actually heard. Whereas I find in a big ecosystem, machine, whatever you want to call an organization like that, it's just things don't happen as fast. They don't change as quickly. And sometimes you don't really have a voice, although you can do this employee satisfaction survey. It's going to be completely whatever, but it's just about them to show that their metrics are good, right? Yeah. So no, I definitely can really, really identify with sitting behind that desk.
Yeah, I know. I thrive when I'm with people. That's when I thrive. When I'm talking to clients, when I'm close to them, when I'm hearing about their experiences. That's when I thrive.
100%. And it's the same thing for me too. Like I was in an inside account executive role too, so I was selling from behind a screen. Whereas I'm not a behind the screen guy. Yeah. I'm an in person. Like even to this day, like it's funny whenever I tell my parents I'm going to the mall, they're like, "Why are you going to the mall? You can just order it online." And I'm like, I'm a bricks and mortars guy. Yeah. I like to go into the store. I like to have the associate try and sell it to me, ask questions, touch it before I buy it. That's, my dad always jokes. He always says, like, I collect vinyl records as well. So he's like, you were born in, like, I should be your son and you should be my dad because you were born in the wrong. Yeah, it's like, it's almost backwards. But I don't know. I just think they did so many things right back then.
Yeah. That's where we find connection. Yeah. That's a big thing about mental health. And I don't know if it's part of the questions and stuff, and probably a super long conversation on its own, but people are just missing community and connection.
100%.
And all of these things all this space that we have in between now is just making it really, really hard for people to connect.
100%.
So that's like a huge, huge thing right now.
Well, and that's the mission of the OBC, Auto Business Club, which I'm on the committee for, is coming out of COVID, people just don't really remember how to socialize, Like it's a big thing because even like the example I gave telesales or, an inside account executive role, it's just all behind a screen. And you have all these people that are either working from home or they're going to the office a couple days a week.
Yeah.
That's what the mission of the OBC is to connect young professionals, show people, how to make friends again, how to go out and have fun, talk to people. Because I remember when I first started at Rogers, I was working from home and I was also a little depressed when I first started because it's a big organization, a bunch of change, people are depending on me. And I really found that, staring at that same monitor and wall all day sucked. I hated it. And then I remember when we got the email of us returning back to the workplace one day a week, everyone, this is going to suck. I'm going to hate my life. I thought that too. And then I went in the first day and I met, a bunch of my teammates for the first time because this is during COVID too, right?
Okay, yeah.
Or just coming out of COVID. So I remember I met a bunch of my teammates and we were like messing around in office and, the water cooler chat. And I was just like, this is nice. Like
this isn't bad, yeah.
I like talking to you guys, and then like going to get lunch with the boys, going to get beers after work. Yeah. Like it's still in the office to this day, but we used to go to, because the office was on Saint Laurent, we used to go to the mall and go get lunch, right?
There you go.
So we'd always go through the bay when it was still open. And there was this unicorn that was just like a plushy unicorn that we used to walk by every single day. And we always make a joke about buying it. So then one day we actually bought it and we brought it back to the office.
It's like a mascot now.
Yeah. We call him Uni.
There you go.
And we put like a gold chain on him, some sunglasses, and like made him look like a little G. And then we used to bring him into like our meetings with us with our manager.
It's genius, man.
And then I remember like people would like look behind or look at us from the screen because we had team members in Toronto. They'd be like, "Is that a fucking unicorn that you guys are bringing to the meeting?"
Like, yeah,
that's Uni. That's our boy.
Yeah, exactly. Uni, tell us the numbers this month. What's it looking like?
To this day, I'm in a group chat with the guys, and I'll get them to send me updates
on how Uni's doing.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. And I have to say that it's not everybody that feels that way, right?
100%.
Some people love working from home,
and
that's amazing. And they love having their autonomy and their privacy. They love doing their things, and that's fine. But communities and connection still is very important. So I can't 100%. Say that's everybody. I thrive outside.
100%. I really would agree with you on that. What do you think would change with families and workplaces if mental health was treated preventatively instead of, an emergency response?
Yeah, probably everything. Yeah. I'm a huge believer in prevention. And that was a big thing too that I saw when I was working for the insurers is that so many things could have been prevented beforehand. Early intervention is actually one of the biggest proponents to someone not going off work or someone being off work for a shorter time and or not even having the injury to begin with. So looking at first responders, when you go through a difficult situation, actually briefing that situation as soon as possible after it happens is one of like the biggest signs of recovery or actually the injury not affecting the worker. So that's one thing. But yeah, I think early intervention is everything. Education is everything. And I think like for the younger generation, I don't have experience in this whatsoever, but for sure, I have a daughter and I see the teenagers and I have a niece and nephew and I see what they go through with social media and it's so tough to be where they are right now. And education around that, education around what's happening with social media, how it makes people feel, even adults, like
100%.
It's such a huge thing for people. So yeah, I think education and early intervention is top priority.
Yeah. 100%. And like one of my best friends, he is a teacher at our old high school now, funny enough. Nice. It's just funny because he was not the best student, but now he's teaching.
No, he's teaching.
But he's great. He's coaching football and everything. But he said that like, back in our day, we'd, form strong friendships through, going to a bonfire in some field and someone, underage drinks a little too much alcohol. And then, you protect your friends, make sure they get home safe, and you forge these strong bonds through these, kind of like minor traumas, I guess, or experiences. Kids now today are not forming those strong bonds. A lot of it, he says, is like, it's about me and me only. I'm only looking out for myself, which is just, driving that wedge further between kids. And at a time when mental health is so important, we don't need people driving that wedge farther. We need to pull that wedge away and put them closer together. I'm not saying to go out and underage drink. I want that known, but going out and doing stuff with your friends and forging these strong relationships, because, you don't always get to choose your family, but you get to choose your friends and the people around you. And I like one of the greatest things that I really wish for my kids when I have the chance to have a family is I want them to have as strong friends and friendships as I did growing up.
Huge, yeah.
Because, I came, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, I came from a very privileged lifestyle growing up. And I have a lot of friends that came from a lot different circumstances and didn't grow up the most fortunate. And they help show me that, the world isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's, sometimes it's dark and bad things can happen and not everyone's given the same opportunity. And I think that it just was instrumental in shaping who I am and being able to see, both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. And I think that's how you learn things like empathy and
Exactly.
and humility and respect, despite where people might come from or the challenges that they might have. And yeah, super interesting the way that your teacher was talking about kids. And it's like the me generation. I don't know if that's a thing. I just made that up, the me generation, but
We're coining that.
Yeah, we're coining the me
that.
generation. Yeah. I mean, there's no going back now in terms of like, how we communicate with each other and how we use the internet as tools. But I push my kids outside every chance I get, go play outside, find some friends on the street.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
So important.
Like go drink some water out of the hose.
Yeah, exactly. Go lick something dirty. Build an immune system.
Oh, that's funny. If someone said to you like right now, I'm not bad enough for therapy, what would you want them to hear?
I'm not bad enough for therapy, as in like
their mental health isn't bad enough yet for therapy,
or they don't feel like it's bad enough for therapy. Therapy, like anything else, I think you mentioned you had a coach, right?
Yeah.
Therapy, like anything else, it could just be a way for you to build your toolkit and to build resilience. It doesn't necessarily have to be whenever things are bad, I'm going to go seek therapy. Maybe it's like, hey, some challenges are coming up, or I might foresee there might be challenges coming up. I'm having a difficult situation. I'm not depressed or anything, but I'd really like to enforce the toolkit that I have so that whenever something does come up, I can just pull it up, be like, oh yeah, I remember that conversation I had with the therapist. This is how I deal with that.
100%.
You're talking about ebbs and flows. Okay, this is normal. It's normal not to be happy every second of every day.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not possible. We go through challenges. We go through hard days. And so, yeah, I'd say that therapy itself is really a tool, and you don't have to be down in the dumps.
Yeah. And you mentioned, the coach that I work with. Shout out Luzita Kennedy. She is the GOAT. In my opinion.
Good job, Lucida.
Yeah. But she's, I almost like, I used to see her once a week, and now I see her once a month.
Okay.
But it's almost like a therapy where she's just like an impartial other person.
So great.
That I just talk about. I talk about what's going on, what I'm happy about, what I'm not happy about. And she's just always done such a great job of just listening to me. And like, it's funny. And my dad kind of gets upset because she'll tell me to do something that he's been telling me to do for years, and I'll actually listen to her because it's not my dad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. So she's definitely someone who's super instrumental in, helping me stay good.
Right on.
Whatever that means to people. Right?
Yeah, no, it's good to have that impartial person to talk to that can see both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Because we're so like sometimes focused. We're like looking through this tunnel, and it's hard to see everything on the outside. And somebody gets to step away and be like, actually, John, your dad was right this whole time. You should have listened to him.
Yeah. What's one proactive habit that creates the biggest long-term impact on mental health?
I don't have any numbers or research in my pocket here on that.
But what's one that you would just recommend?
Yeah. I'd say community is a good habit. So like seek community. Our nervous system kind of regulates when we're near others, and I'm a believer in that. Other things is like purpose is really important. These are deep things, but I mean, if you wanted easy stuff, I'd say just go for a walk once in a while, be in nature as much as possible.
Yeah.
Eat good food,
Shut off your phone, reconnect with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Just do something other than scroll, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Doom scroll.
I do it all. I do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the easy things are just like eat good food, go for walks, and try and get some sleep, I'd say.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah. Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it.
You're playing an instrumental role in innovating healthcare in Ottawa. Not only Ottawa, but in our system as a whole in the Canadian healthcare system. How do you separate evidence-based innovation from just mental health hypes, I guess?
Yeah, great question. How do you separate? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So how do you separate like evidence-based innovation in healthcare from just like a mental health hype? Like, you need to cold plunge because it's going to release all these endorphins in the morning, which I'd cold plunge. I'm not knocking it, but an example.
Yeah. So I would say that when it's part of when it comes from structure, and so when we talk about innovation, when we talk about things like ketamine therapy, why we prescribe it, how we use it, in that we use the best evidence we can find to inform our protocols, to inform the work that we're doing. We make sure that it's safe and structured, and we have the right people doing the work, the people that are trained to do the work and or love and are passionate about it, that have, we use the research to inform the care that they give. And so when it comes to hype, it's that people might see things as like the next, cold plunging once a day is going to heal all your aches and pains. It's not, but it's going to be a really great tool, and it's going to be a really great tool among other things that you're doing, like those things that we talked about that were super easy: taking walks, eating good food, and getting some sleep. It's just a part of that. It's a continuum of care. So ketamine therapy is it can be such an amazing tool, and for some, it could be a huge shift, and for others, it changes little things. And those that do well are those that continue working thereafter.
And so is it only ketamine therapy that you do in the clinic, or do you use other psychedelics as well?
Currently, yes. So currently we use, your traditional talk therapies. We use ketamine because it's one of the only legal, above board medications that we can use that can cause altered states of consciousness. There's a lot of great changes that happen in the brain that's evidence and research based. And when I say psychedelics, you might be thinking of other things like psilocybin or like MDMA is one that they talk about a lot. And two really amazing tools as well, but just that aren't accessible unless you go through a huge slew of paperwork with Health Canada. So it's really, really difficult for people to get their hands on that in a legal, above board environment, licensed environment. And so there's a ton of things and a ton of people that are working with it under different circumstances. But what I'd like to do is make sure that I'm working in like an ethical, evidence-based way.
100%.
Following the rules.
100%.
Yeah.
You have to when you're using stuff like that. I feel like. What do you think is, with this new breakthrough approach, I know a lot of people are curious about it, but what do you think people can kind of misunderstand?
I think exactly what I was saying, that it's like a magic potion.
Yeah.
That I'm just going to go in, I'm going to get a shot of ketamine, or I'm going to get psilocybin, and all of a sudden all my problems are going to go away. But really what it does is it shows you the door, but you still have to walk through it.
Yeah.
And apart from the experience that those have while they're taking ketamine or even traditional like psychedelics like psilocybin, and you're having maybe this experience where you're in an altered state of consciousness, and you can use that experience to inform therapy after and to inform yourself. Maybe it's emotions, maybe it's thought patterns, maybe it's things you felt were important that really weren't, like these realizations you might have. But things are happening in the brain too. So with ketamine, it's working on parts of your brain that are like the learning centers of your brain. So it's like exciting your brain to take in information, and it's ready to build these new pathways. And so people might misinterpret things like ketamine as like a quick fix, and it's really not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, that's a really good way of looking at it. Yeah. Do you think, like with innovative therapies like ketamine therapy, do you think that it's like, where do you think it fits best, I guess? Like, is it a first step, second step, or like a last step?
What I've seen and what the research shows, and a lot of it was done with those that are treatment resistant, and treatment resistance in the dictionary will tell you they've tried 2 medications or more without effect, for instance. But I see it as someone who has done the work, whether in therapy, maybe they've tried medication, they have insight, which means I understand why I'm feeling this way. I kind of know where it stems from. I have the tools, but still my body's kind of stuck in this place. Like I can't move past that. And so I say those are the clients that see the biggest change. They're ready for change.
Yeah.
They have the insight. They're ready to put in the work. And so I wouldn't say it's a first step, because there's a lot of traditional things that could be really helpful before you step into things like ketamine therapy.
Yeah.
So I'd say the middle to the third step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you probably don't have the data in front of you, but like, does it like it's not a magic bullet that'll happen on the first time. Is there like an average that you've seen of how many sessions it takes on average?
Yeah, so I'd say most clients will see change after the third or fourth session. That's where the biggest change starts happening. But there's a ton of research that's showing for things like suicidal ideation that even after the first dose or one dose, after 24 to 48 hours, suicidal ideation can go out the window.
Really?
Yeah. So they're even doing a study at CHIO right now with adolescents and children with suicidality, where they're administering ketamine and looking at the results to see how is this really helping with suicidality, how long is it lasting, what are the effects. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
That even they're seeing value in helping the youth, because that's one of the biggest crises right now is mental health in youth.
Huge, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
What do you think are some, ethical, and I'm not saying you have any, but what are some ethical red flags that clients should look out for when, a clinic offers some sort of a new treatment?
Ethical things they should watch out for. Yeah, I'd say that you're getting all the information up front. So like we said, whenever it comes to transparency, so make sure that you're getting everything out there on the table, that the people you're working with are licensed and regulated. Do your research. Google's so powerful. AI is so powerful. ChatGPT, and Google it. And there's a ton of things out there right now, like RTMS, transmagnetic stimulation. There's neurofeedback, which we do at the clinic as well, which is like a brain training tool. There's a lot of things coming out for your mental health that could be really important, but it's so easy to do your own research and see, are there peer-reviewed articles or research out there that's showing there could be a benefit? And I'd say do that.
Google reviews, like check the clinic out.
Yeah,
make sure
Google
that they're
reviews
credible.
is a big one.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone, I'd say that's good.
Talk to your doctor.
Yeah, that's a big one too. Always talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
I should say that all the time.
What do you think that, safe, modern, and high quality healthcare is going to look like in 2026?
Safe, modern, and high quality healthcare?
Yeah.
When we look at the whole person and we're not just focused on one part of the person, on their brain, on just talk therapy.
Yeah.
When we can see a person that we want to look at the whole. So we can look at diet. We can look at therapy. We can look at cold plunging. We can look at just light activity. We can look at community. And I think that's what it'll be. That's what modern mental health therapy is going to be in the future, I think, is looking at a person as a whole instead of prescribing an over-counter medication and be like, well, you're feeling sad. This helps with sadness. Or, you're feeling low energy. Here's one that'll get your energy up, right?
Getting back to basics and like, why are you feeling sad? Why are you low energy?
You're having trouble sleeping. Here's a pill for sleep, right?
Yeah.
And I have nothing against that. Medications are super powerful. You can be on a medication and you can have no side effects, and it could be a great tool in order for you to do all these other things that are great for your mental health. But a lot of medications also have like terrible side effects. And I get clients all the time who have tried 3 to 6 to 10 different medications, and the side effects have just been absolutely horrendous, and they can't take the medications, and so they're seeking other ways to get better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. High performers, you're clearly a high performer yourself, and from what I hear.
I would say, thanks.
What do you think burnout looks like for high performers, before anyone really notices?
Oh man, good question. What do I think burnout looks like for high performers before anyone notices?
Yeah.
Man, what does burnout look like for high performers? I'm gonna answer this. Just give me a second.
Yeah,
I'm gonna think of something good.
Take your time.
Think of something good. What does burnout look like before anyone notices? Yeah, I'd say So I'd say a lot of the same kind of symptoms we were talking about earlier. So, having trouble getting out of the bed, feeling tired all the time. Everything seems to be a struggle. Like that feeling where there's a big weight on your shoulders and like the world's out to get you and everything's just like a hardship. And so I think sometimes you push yourself too hard and and too quick, and you lose. I do this sometimes. Is like I quickly, if you put me in my office for too many days out of the week, I start to lose it. And I have a nurse at the clinic that works with our clients, and so I'd be like, hey, go take a break, or I'm gonna get the 2 clients today, and you can go. We'll put you on something else just so I can be around a client. I can talk to them and interact with them. And all of a sudden my energy is way back up. It's like how I fill my cup, so finding ways to fill your cup. And that's how I do it, is just connecting with my clients again and my team.
Fill your cup. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt.
Do it.
FlowState Therapy merch.
Fill your cup.
How do you're coming up to your 1-year anniversary, which congratulations. That's
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
How do you lead a growing team without normalizing exhaustion? Because I'm sure it can be a lot sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, FlowState is what it is because of my team. Like it wouldn't be the place that you walk into today without the amazing people that I have around me. We thrive because of them. Has little to do with me. I'm just like, I always say that I'm there to support them because they're like, they work so hard every day. They push me to work harder. They fill my cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there's a synergy that happens at the workplace whenever everyone is passionate about the work that they do. Everyone gets energy from the things that we see and the clients that we serve every day. So I think your question was around teammates.
How do you lead a growing team without normalizing exhaustion? Because smaller company, there's a smaller clinic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of roles that everyone has to take on, right?
Yeah. I mean, we basically work in a spa. Like, we have nice calm music when you come in the door. Like, our environment says, take a breath and slow down. We got nice music at the door. We work hard and we rush, and sometimes things are super busy and you got a lot of clients that day and things go late, but we touch base quite often as well. So we have a meeting or 2 every week. We're super open. We're okay with having hard conversations. That was actually one thing that came up when we were having our first meetings was, well, how do we have hard conversations? Like, what does that look like? And is it okay? Like, it's hard to have colleagues that also like are friends, and we also do some things out of the office, and we're also, there's, you're the clinical manager and they're the therapist or the nurse practitioner or the nurse, right? So you're working with all these different boundaries. We just check in, and I check in. So I try and do this thing every 3 months that I call like a check-in, and I have a list of questions like, what's going good? What's going bad? What do you need from me? Is there any support that you're missing or anything I can do differently? And then I talk about tools and things, their office space, about their comfort, about the things that they're doing, and how, if there's anything we can improve. So
you're a good boss, is what you're saying.
I hope so. Yeah, you tell them, you go to my office, tell the crew. Yeah, so.
That's awesome. What's one boundary that you set in your workplace to, keep you effective as a leader?
What's a boundary? Do I have any? That's the question. I don't know if I have any boundary. No, I have. I have boundaries in that we sometimes set up conversations like, okay, we're about to have a conversation. This is work related. This isn't French. This isn't personal, right? Like, because a lot of the people I work with, we're also friends. We run together. We might work out together. We might do things after work. And so sometimes we get to the table, we're like, okay, we're about to have a difficult conversation. This is a work thing. This isn't personal. And so we try and kind of like make a boundary there. And then once that conversation is done, we're like, okay, that was tough.
Again.
That was tough. Yes, but now we can keep going.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Small clinic, you're still coming up to your 1 year. When the pressure spikes because you are a new business, what helps keep you grounded to, continuously being a good leader, a good boss, and run the clinic effectively?
I'd say my family, my kids, my wife. Every time I get home, it's like, I know why I'm working so hard.
Nice.
Yeah, that's like number one. And then the people that I work with, because it's crazy to think that we're like an ecosystem, right? Like a business is an ecosystem, and the person at the front desk, the person that's answering the phones, and the nurses and the therapists, and even myself, without one another, nobody would have a paycheck to go pay rent or buy groceries. Like we're all here, kind of like we're here, we're leveraging like each other's skills and our passions to like make a living. And I think that's crazy that we're doing that.
Yeah.
That we're doing something good, and that we have such an incredible dynamic, and that all those parts contribute to like people being able to take care of themselves and take care of their families. And yeah,
Nice.
so that excites me, man. I
That's
think that's
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It honestly is. That's the
crazy.
same way I feel about this job too. Like my job's to talk to people. Like I never shut up. So it's honestly like perfect.
It works for you. Yeah.
So, why do you think, or like mental health care can be weaker when clinics try to do everything alone instead of working together?
Yeah, you're just shutting yourself off to information and like tools you may not be aware of, and places, communities, and services you might not be aware of. There's so many people doing amazing things in the city of Ottawa. I always say we're like a big, small place, and that it's a big city, but really
It's small.
really it's small. And I think with just the right amount of effort and someone that's willing to like go knock on doors and start connecting people in places, that we can get so much done. So I think it's really about communicating. It's about community, and it's about just building a network in which we can trust each other to do the best by the client, and not see it as like the competition. It's really just about helping the people that are in front of us.
Yeah, and I love that. And community collaboration and giving back seems to be super, super important to you. Do you have any partnerships with anybody that you think are like truly impactful for the clients, instead of just like a PR or like a corporate social responsibility route?
Do I have any partnerships that I think, like not officially, but in doing things like the events that we've met at, and trying to get out of the office more. That's my plan for 2026, is getting out of the office and connecting more face to face with others. But now I know of all these services in the community, occupational therapy. There's a bunch of great services for veterans out there, and it's growing because it's such like an unserviced population
it's horrible in my opinion.
Yeah. It's horrible, but also it's the same population that has a lot of trouble reaching out.
Yeah.
And so you kind of got to go knock on the door.
Yeah.
But I've met so many incredible people that are so passionate about helping the veteran community. And that's been really uplifting for me and my team. We love the work that we do with veterans, for one. And so, yeah, I'm trying to build connections with other providers that may be providing something that I'm not, that could be beneficial for our clients. RTMS, there's a great RTMS clinic, RTMS Life in Ottawa. I know the psychiatrist there, Chris, who's just an amazing guy. They have an incredible team. They're so loving. They're so passionate about the work, and I'd be more than happy to send anyone there. So I guess officially we might be referring people to each other when it makes sense. But yeah.
Nice. And how do you make the decision? Because it seems like you're very client focused and you really, really care about your clients. So how do you make the decision to choose your clients over, being profitable or more profit, let's say?
Yeah, easy. In that I think that if you're providing good service and you're doing what's best for them, that will come after. Like that's 100%. I think that if you focus on the money, it's not going to come as easy as if you focus on the work and just doing good work.
Yeah. Also, it wouldn't be very good to preach to take care of your mental health and then always be stressing about money.
Yeah. I mean, I have to look at money, as a business owner.
You have to look at your
bottom line. You have to look at the bottom line, and you have to look to the future. It's so hard to be in the present, but also constantly having to look to the future and trying to like manage those and manage expectations and manage your own expectations. But that's for another day. But yeah, you have to make sure you keep the doors open.
Yeah.
That's such a crazy place to be too, where you're providing mental health as a service, but as a for-profit service, and that you have to make sure that everyone gets paid and gets home, and you have to keep the doors open, but you're also providing a service that's like needed, and the people that are coming to you are people that are suffering. It's balancing that all the time, you know?
Nice. Yeah, 100%. It's always that balancing act. And that's something that we feel here too at WorkAway is like if our clients and or not our clients, sorry, our members are happy, then we're happy. Because when our members are happy, they're sharing with their friends, they're telling them about the great
100%.
experience they've had, especially like with the studio as well. It's Richard Branson. That's how he built Virgin Mobile and Virgin like all the Virgin umbrella.
Yeah.
Was he wanted his end users to be happy, because when your end users are happy, your employees are happy, which makes your end users happy, which then makes your shareholders happy.
I didn't know this story, but I like it.
Yeah. So it's a very, very client. I did a project on him when I was in college.
Nice.
I was in marketing. So
sounds like instead of like the top down, it's like bottom up.
Yeah.
You know, which just makes complete sense.
100%.
So many stories.
Whereas most people are like, no, I need, the board to be happy. It's like, well, how do you make the board happy? You show them good numbers.
Yeah.
How do you show them good numbers? Your end user, your clients are happy, and your employees are happy. It's a good work. Like it's just it's like you said, it's an ecosystem that needs to flow.
Yeah,
FlowState.
I like it. Yeah, like that email.
Yeah.
I forget what you said.
I actually did that completely by accident.
Okay, man, gotta get in the flow.
It's perfect when it does. So one more question, and then we'll leave it off.
Ready.
If FlowState Therapy could change one thing in the community over the next decade, what would that be for you?
It's a really big question. I should have looked at these before. Surprising, man. If they can change one thing in the community over the next 10 years, what would it be? What would it be? All right, I'm going to think about this. You might have to edit this thinking part out.
Yeah.
If I can change, one thing over the next 10 years. What a question.
Or you could do two.
Yeah,
That makes it easier.
No, it's not, because I can't think of one. It's such a big if FlowState can change something in the community over the next 10 years. Okay, I'll try. I'll try and say something.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay, so if FlowState can change one thing over the next 10 years in the community of Ottawa, man, it's tough, but. Yeah, I'd say we're just going to continue striving towards our goals of like community-driven care and client-centered care and accessibility, and hopefully that just makes a city of Ottawa in which people can reach out sooner, right? Make it okay to reach out sooner. Prevention is huge, so help around prevention, and just making it, because we have the opportunity with the city that we're in to be so much more collaborative than we are, like between, clinic owners and stakeholders in mental health. So yeah, I'd say that would be the big goal.
Amazing. Yeah. So just continue to do what you do, basically.
Yeah, and I think if we do, we'll be in a good place.
100%. I think that Ottawa will be in a better place, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing. Let's set an appointment 10 years from now. We'll have another podcast.
Okay. It's the 23rd of February, 2026.
But no, Ben, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You were a fantastic guest. Appreciate you giving us your time. If you want to look into the camera and maybe plug out where people can find, you can look into that one.
What do I say? How they can find me?
Yeah, how they can find FlowState.
Yeah, we're right downtown on the corner of Nepean and Bank Street. Feel free to give us a call. Do I put the number in there? Yeah. 613-670-6629. You can email us at hello@flowstatetherapy.ca. Check out our website, flowstatetherapy.ca. We're always available, and I'm on the phone, so you could always pick up the phone, dial in, and anyone can ask for me, and I'm there. So,
awesome.
There you go.
Thank you very much.